Hi everyone, Agnes here. I am doing a 5 questions discussion with Sana. Hello, Sana.
Hi, Agnes. Hi, everyone.
Hi, nice to meet you in person on Zoom. And
likewise.
Can you just tell everyone where you are in the world?
I am in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and I've been living here as an expat for the last 9 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And where were you before?
Pakistan. I'm from Pakistan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Hamza, who I've interviewed, is from Pakistan.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
There are so many of us.
Yes.
Scattered everywhere, actually.
It's lovely. Yeah. It's lovely. So go ahead, Sana, ask me your question number 1.
Okay. So the first question I have is, I think it's on everyone's mind these days. And it's regarding, the current situation with all the lockdowns and the totalitarian governments, the dictatorship, and now the impending food shortages and, the surveillance, all these things. Like everyone that I know who share my viewpoints about these things and who just want to live and, have personal freedom, they are very scared or angry or both. And, it's so hard to keep the faith that we make our own reality and no matter what happens in the world will not affect us. So how do we keep that faith and how do we what do we do actually?
That's a good
so
question.
Hard to not be unfazed by all this, whatever is happening.
Yeah. And I think, we're human, and now that we know what we know compared to what we knew 2.5 years ago, a lot more things have been revealed and a lot more things have come to the surface. I understand that people are afraid, and I understand that people are angry, and I understand that this really affects our feeling of being secure in our own countries, in our own cities, in our own personal lives, because different countries have had more severe lockdowns and more severe controlling of the population. And I think it really is a huge question that you've asked for this first question. I think what I find helps me is saying, okay, they're not in my house, they're not in my street, and they're not able to influence what I do moment by moment. So I am free still to a degree, as long as I remember to practice I am free, I am secure, and really get that going within my own self as I move through my day and do what I need to do. Now, I was discussing this with my partner recently, and he was saying, look, he said, all these systems have been in place for a very long time. They've just come more into the foreground because of the internet and the connectivity we have, that we've seen it a lot more. But he said these old systems where certain groups of people are pulling the puppet strings for the rest of us have been there for a very long time by, whether you call it government or media or certain families that own a lot of things. He said these things have been going for very, very long time. He said it's coming to the forefront for a lot of...
And they're not even trying to hide it anymore, it seems.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's what's more scary.
It is. It's way more. It used to be more covert, whereas now, like you say, they're not hiding it anymore. And I do think that it is human and normal it's almost like we're not oblivious anymore to what's going on. So it's really working on our own I am free, I am secure, because those are the two things you feel are being taken away, that you're not free and that you're not secure, because at any given moment something could happen to take security away. So, you know, what it makes me think of is I was listening to a particular lecture a few days ago of Neville, and he was talking about when he went into the army, and he said, you know, there was no end date. You didn't know when this whole war and going to war and being in the army was going to be over. But what he said was, it doesn't matter what governments and nations are doing. He said what we needed to do while we were in the army, those that wanted to, and he discussed this with a man that was in the army, a guy that he knew a little bit better than the others. And he said, I'm going to imagine that I've been honorably discharged. And he had a dream, and then within 9 days he was discharged after these, I think it was 3 months of training.
Okay.
Now, he was in a very tight corner of all his freedom being taken away and forced into conscription of having to go into the army. So his situation in a way was much worse than ours, because the government had the authority to force you to go and do that if you were a man. So when I think of what's going on today, it's like, well, if Neville can imagine his way out of a situation where he was right in a corner, in a very tight corner with no end in sight, then we who have got more freedom than he did have got the ability to focus as well. And I think the collective consciousness needs to be, we are free around the world. And it doesn't matter what country, because it's pretty much everyone in the world's been roped into this scenario. So as we know what we know, and we are very clear of what we don't want, and we're very clear of what we do want, which is freedom and security, that we put our focus on that in whatever way you can, whether you script it, whether you imagine it, whether you call up the freedom of it, as in the feeling, and you get into that place as much as you can. I mean, I don't have a TV in London, so I don't watch those things. On the internet, I've removed myself from social media since I found out
That's what I was going to ask you. What about like whether we should be informed or should we close our eyes? Because I follow so many of those accounts who talk about these things, who basically forewarn. Well, their purpose is so that people know what's going to happen, and it actually happens. So should we just close our eyes to all that stuff and, you know, be in a place in our mind where we want to be, or at least pay attention to that so we know how to prepare ourselves? Like, that's also another dilemma, I think.
Yes, and I hear what you're saying. I mean, I don't think being with your head buried in the sand and not knowing what's going on is a smart thing to do. I mean, I remember I watched 2 movies, The Great Hack and Social Dilemma, which was all about the structures of social media. Now, once I found out what was going on, because there was people in those movies that were people that worked inside these organizations, and they had left and they were telling us what was going on. So I thought, okay, now I know what I know. I cannot be on these social media platforms. I cannot, because it goes against the things I believe in. And I now have to make a decision for me. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to convert anybody to do anything. It's you got to do what's right for you. Now, for me, once I found out certain things, I could no longer be on these platforms. Now, I am still on YouTube, and it's like I've shaved off as much as I can. and then I still have to run a business. So
Yeah.
my business took a hit because I removed myself from pretty much everything. But that's fine. I'm more than okay, and I will be okay because I will use my mind, and I use my mind to create and to continue to do what I do. So it's like I think you need to be informed, but you don't have to be totally saturated and freaking yourself out. So once I knew what I knew, and that was back in early 2021, so it was about a year and a half ago, I made decisions that I do not want to be part of certain things. And I will still talk to my partner about stuff because he's more informed than me, because he doesn't get as emotionally affected by it as I do. So I've said to him, if there's anything that I need to know, like at the time of when you had to wear masks or when you had to do this or that or whatever, you know, I said to him, just let me know. And if there's anything you want me to watch, I'll have a look. But I shaved a lot of it down to about 10% was about as much as I was letting in. And still to this day, I let in about 10%. I mean, there's some people that are doing some amazing interviews with Joe Rogan, or, you know, there's some scientists. I mean, Joe Rogan's amazing. Dr. Robert Malone interview was amazing. Majid was amazing. So those
Peter
types
McCullough.
of beautiful interviews that are so informative.
Exactly.
Those type of things I will listen to. So, but then you can just hop into a podcast, or you can just hop into, you know, listening to someone on whatever, on BitChute or Rumble or whatever, wherever they're talking about it, where they're
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Alex Jones.
So I hear what you're saying, Sana, about, okay, I can't just be ignorant and not know anything. But I guess too, you got to check out, how sensitive am I to certain information? For me, I get angry and I get upset. I know that. So it's better for me to minimize and to work on keeping my mind calm and my emotions at peace, and to be radiating love out, and to be wishing for freedom and security for, you know, the world, however far out you want to go, and maintaining yourself so that you can be as positive an influence with your energy in a secure place. So then you can be of influence in a much better way. Because when you're emotional, when I'm really affected by the injustice of something, it's like I'm not effective in influencing anything, because I'm emotionally, I've lost my center. So it's coming back to, how do I get calm? How do I get secure? How do I feel free? And how do I feel grounded and balanced? And then I'm in a great place to radiate that out as far as I can. And then I'm doing something for the collective consciousness. So that would be my answer to that.
Perfect. Thank you. So my next question is completely unrelated to that.
Yes.
It's about my weight issue. Like, this has been such a block of mine that I don't remember in my adult life I have ever been, except maybe one time.
Yes.
Right before my marriage, when I just lost weight in a hurry. Otherwise, I have not been able to maintain my weight and be at a weight that I am happy with. Even, you know, telling myself that food doesn't affect me, or whatever I'm eating, I'm only getting the nutrients out of it, and it's not gonna cause any fat gain. It doesn't help me.
Yeah.
I would start working. Well, I work out regularly, but unfortunately, that doesn't really work as far as weight loss is concerned for me. And I'll start, you know, dieting or taking care of what I eat, but just after a few days, I'll get back to my, you know, old ways. And somehow it feels like, maybe it's my belief or something, but it feels like it's harder for me to lose weight and maintain the weight loss.
Yeah.
I have like tried to tell my mind all sorts of things, but it doesn't work with me.
Yeah.
So that's
okay. I know when I was probably at my heaviest, and like I'm only 164 centimeters or 5'4", depending on what system you use. And I had been doing physical work. I'd been working with children, and I'd also been working, you know, going up and down ladders, doing displays in big shopping centers for interior design. And once I was phasing that out and I started working sitting, I started to slowly gain weight. And I remember thinking, oh, just because I'm getting older doesn't mean I have to put on weight. And I thought, you're putting on weight, you are exercising. So like you, the exercise didn't really shift it for me. And the thing that did work for me and consistently works for me now, where I can just, I'm just at a weight where, you know, I'm at a comfortable weight for my height. I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm not trying to gain weight. I'm just happy where I am. And the way I did it was with fasting. So what I did was I thought, okay, I love food. I really enjoy certain foods. Some of them aren't great for me. I love dairy, I love bread, and I love sugar. Do I have a lot of that today? Not really, but I'm not going to say to you I don't have it. You know, I'll sit down and eat a whole chocolate bar and I think, oh, where did that go? I was only supposed to eat one row, you know? So
Yeah.
as soon as I'm watching Netflix and I think, oh, I need popcorn, or oh, I need a bit of chocolate, or I need that little bag of chips. So I still eat those things. I have not cut them out, and I'm not just eating green leaves all the time, I can tell you that. But what I did was I thought, okay, I don't need 3 meals a day for my height, and I certainly don't need 3 decent sized meals, because I was starting to have trouble with my digestion. So, you know, my digestion was blocked, my pipes were blocked, and I just wasn't feeling good in my, like, I was sluggish. So what I did was I thought, okay, I'm going to remove 1 meal a day every single day. So for me, I'm not hungry in the morning. So I removed breakfast. Some people are starving in the morning when they wake up. That's probably not the meal to get rid of. So I thought, okay, I'm going to remove 1 meal a day. And I chose breakfast. So that was 7 less meals a week. That was 14 less meals every 2 weeks. And that was about, 30 meals a month that I'd removed. And I would start eating at lunchtime. I'd finish my meal the night before, and then I'd go all the way through till lunchtime. And it was really hard for the first probably week. And then I had a fibroid, and it was getting big, and I couldn't do my pants up because it was large. And that scared me into fasting. I did 7 days fasting, and I lost 6 to 7 kilos that week. I didn't eat at all. All I did was juice, drank water, and drank herb teas. That was it for a week. And because I was really scared, because they said that they wanted to operate on this thing. And I thought, no, I'm not operating. I'm feeding this thing with the food I eat, and I know what food makes it grow. It's the sugar, it's the wheat, and it's the dairy. It's all the stuff I love.
All the delicious
stuff.
stuff.
Yep. So I thought, okay, I'm going to starve this thing. And what motivated me was being scared for what they'd said. And I thought, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm not getting this operation. So it ended up that the reason the fibroid was growing was because my digestion was bad and the toxins weren't coming out of my body, and it had to go somewhere, and it was going to that area. So I ended up, the 7-day fast was pretty severe, but what happened was, since then, I don't eat breakfast hardly at all. Maybe if I'm cooking for my partner, every now and again I'll have breakfast, maybe once a month or something. But I pretty much don't eat until now 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So my digestion, it works much better. And my weight just slowly went down because I was removing. If you're going to lose weight, you've got to cut down on the amounts. And exercise is good, but it's still, if you're still eating, I've seen people still eating the same amount of food and exercising, and they're not dropping the weight. So it's the amount you consume, I find, is what stops the weight loss. So for me, I stopped the amounts, and I still have all the food groups that I mentioned, but I eat less of them. I eat more fruit. I eat more greens. I love vegetarian. I love meat. I love vegan. I love all the different types of food. So I just try and mix it up.
Yeah, but that's the strategic part of weight loss, which I think, I feel like every fat person knows what to do in order to lose weight. Eat less, move more, eat nutritionally dense food, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the motivation, because my third question is also somewhat related to it, the motivation and the discipline. Basically, motivation, I think it comes and goes, willpower, as people call it, but the discipline, because there are so many things that I regularly want to do. Exercise, I'm only able to do because I have hired a personal trainer, online personal trainer. So she is on my ass every day, and I have to show up and I have to work out. But I can't have, an assistant at home from my hand all the. Probably that's what I need. So how do you become that person, or who is disciplined enough to say no to the things that you shouldn't be eating, the late night snacking? Especially my undoing is late night snacking. And at late night, you never want a salad or a chicken breast at late night. You always want some crap. So that's the problem. Well, I want to eat supplements. I want to drink a gallon of water and all those things. I want to wake up at sunrise and look at the sun and all the good things, but I don't do those things. I know they are good for me. That's the problem. So how do I become that disciplined person? What do I tell myself that that's my reality, and then I just...
Well, I think it's got to be, you've got to look at, why am I emotionally eating? That's one thing. And then if you are, I'm a night scoffer too. I love eating weird things at night. That's, you're watching something and you think, oh, what have I got in the cupboard? And you run in there and you're like a little rat in the cupboard, So I haven't stopped doing that. But what I have stopped is eating at other times during the day so that I can still do a bit of that, because I'm a night person. So I enjoy that night little snacking thing. It's fun for me. But it's like, okay, if you're going to do that, you got to cut back somewhere else. So I've said to myself, I'm still going to have my little nighttime snacks. I'm going to try not and eat past 10 p.m. because I'm usually awake till midnight. So I've still got 2 hours to digest. But I've got to cut it back somewhere else. So I allow myself that, but I cut back elsewhere. So now I'm not missing out in the evenings, but I'm disciplining myself. I'm more disciplined when I wake up till about 3 o'clock. That's when I'm eating green stuff, eating fruit, having my green tea. I'm much more disciplined during the day. It's like I've got the angel and the devil on my shoulder, and it's like, the devil comes out at 3. So
it feels like you're like, I am saying all those things. On breakfast is not a big deal for me. I can take it or leave it. It's the other times, especially the evening, the late nights, when everyone is asleep. I'm all alone, running around, walking around in the house. So
I just got to turn my stew off. I've got a stew on the stove.
Oh, nice. Lovely.
Yeah. I'll just give it a little.
It feels like it's still daytime in London. It feels like.
It's what time? Well, we started at 8:30, so it's probably close to 9 o'clock, but it's light out till 9:30 at night. Light out till late.
It feels so weird when I visited Europe, and I saw that it's nighttime, even daytime, even at 9:30 at night. It
Yeah,
was so weird for me because
I
I've
know.
never lived in a place where it's
Yeah,
daytime after 7 o'clock.
I
So
know.
yeah,
It's really strange how different countries have got that real difference in light and dark, isn't it? I mean, in
yeah.
winter in London, it's dark at 4:30 in the afternoon, which is not very pleasant. 4:30 is too early.
Wow, sure. That's
Yeah,
probably the worst thing about England, the weather. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's been fantastic this year. It's been fantastic. It's just been amazing. So I'm grateful. I'm great. That's the thing to be grateful for. So yeah, going back to your question of weight, it's okay. I mean, if you said you don't care so much about breakfast, then you're pretty much like me. So try and go without food in the morning, and then go, okay, in the evening I'll eat my main meal, and I'll eat what I want. So it's kind of going with your body clock. I mean, I find my mum, when I'm with my mum, she's up at 7 in the morning and she's cooking eggs and all this stuff because she's hungry as soon as she gets up. Whereas I look at that and I go, ooh. So my body knows food in the morning, no. So our bodies are all different. So try and listen to your body more to say, okay, if I can go without breakfast, how far can I stretch that into the day? And then, just play around with it and try it. Because I lost like 10 kilos easily. And it was just slow and steady. It was like 1 kilo every 2 weeks. I mean, apart from when I did the 7 days. But it's just kind of been 1 kilo every week or 2 weeks. It just fell off really slowly. And now I'm just at the good weight, and it's finding that good weight for you. But really, it's not as hard as you think. It really isn't. It's just,
That's my problem, basically, that it feels like this is my struggle in this lifetime, and it's
yeah,
like it's the hardest thing for me. That is the
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Mental block.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the first thing to change. I lose weight easily and effortlessly, because if you're saying it's the hardest thing for me, I can't lose weight, I've had this for so long, then your body's going, that's what it's telling me. So yeah, you can change the mindset as well as change a little bit of your habits. And then, the turtle wins the race, just slow and steady, the weight drops off. And then, I remember saying, I am now between 60 and 62 kilos. I used to say that. I am now my perfect weight. And my friend was doing it with me. She's in her 70s and we used to do it together. She's lost like 12 kilos and she could never lose weight. Never. So it was the same as what you're saying. She just kept saying, and then she saw what I did and she said, okay, I'm going to do it with you. What did you do? So we talked and then we did it together. And then our weight just slowly went off for both of us. And we're both now 10 kilos lighter. She's 12 kilos. I'm 10 kilos lighter. So, just
Great.
yeah. Good question.
I guess the same thing about the third question I asked, being disciplined. I just have to tell myself that I'm a disciplined person, not just in eating, but other healthy habits too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sana, I used to
Right.
set alarms on my phone too. I'd set an alarm.
Okay.
Take your supplements at 12 o'clock, because I find taking supplements, like because I didn't eat breakfast, I didn't want to take supplements
I
in the
hate
morning.
taking stuff.
Yeah,
I hate swallowing all those supplements. I
Yes.
have bought so many. I've spent so much like money on those supplements, and I remember time to time that I have to take them, and I just don't get to it. Like 8-10 tablets every day. It's
too much.
Chore.
Yeah.
You just things that would are good for you. Just at least me. So yeah. Okay. Let me see my question I wrote. Yeah, the next question is about my dream house. I have it's a funny thing or a sad thing, whatever you want to say it, but I have never lived in a house that I can call my own. Like, we have always rented house when I was small. And I remember my dad, he has passed away now, but one thing that I remember he used to say, because I guess our parents have their own blocks, he used to say people who have their own houses these days, because it is so much inflation, everything is so expensive, only those people have their own houses who earn through, nefarious ways. And this is, I think, 30 years back, that's what he used to say. And I don't know, I realize it, and I don't believe it. I know that's not true, but even then, it's been, well, I'm 39 now, and I have not been able to have my own house, and I always like want to have a dream house with a pool and a kitchen garden and, a big kitchen and all those things. And for one reason or the other, although we are, thank God, we are financially okay, everything is fine, but we don't have our own house. This is something that I really want to have.
Yeah. Well, I think if you can sit down and go, okay, have I got any negative beliefs about having my own house, that it won't happen for me, or it happens to other people, or how are we going to pay for it, or how are we going to save the deposit, or how are we going to get the bank to give us money, or, it might not be that you get a loan, it might be that you pay for it outright, So
Yeah,
I think it's,
that's the case.
yeah, if you, because a house is such a visual thing, I would probably do like a vision board and cut out the pool, cut out the plants, cut out the color or the style of the house, and have it where you can see it visually. And then you might put some words, this is not just a house, it's a home that's full of love for me, my husband, and, whoever else is going to live there. And start to really collect images of the house, the dream house that you want. Because if you're cutting out beautiful pictures and you're looking at this thing, it's natural to feel love towards it because you just love the pictures. So I think a vision board is excellent for a house. And I would also perhaps start, there was a great story in, I think it was Florence Scovel Shinn's book, if I remember correctly, where a woman was wanting a place in New York and there was no places available. And the suggestion was go and buy something as if you've already got the house. And she went and bought some blankets, and she wanted like some blankets for the living room or whatever it was to just, be cozy. And a lot of people said to her, you'll never find a place because there's no places available for the amount of people looking. And she did this act of faith by buying the blankets. And you could do that now, where you purchase something towards the house that you want, whether it's a pillow, whether it's a nice piece of artwork to hang on the wall, and you go, this is especially for my home. Now, it doesn't have to be really expensive, but it's got to be something that you love. Now, if you can't afford to buy certain things, or you think, I don't want to spend my money on that now, then do it virtually, whether you do it as a physical vision board or whether you do it as you can do vision boards on iPads now. So if you don't want people seeing it, you want to keep it private, there's vision board apps that you can use to create it, so no one you can only view it when you want to look at it, and you can add to it. So I think doing the visual stuff for a house is probably the best technique that I know.
Yeah, because when you said buy something, this has been my issue also, because we have been living as an expat, because we are not the citizens of this country and we will never be. So it's like we are always in that expat mentality, that we don't have that kind of disposable income, and we are just here for God knows how much time, and then we'll have to up and leave, and all stuff. So I usually try not to buy a lot of expensive stuff, furniture wise or other things, because
Yeah.
who knows how much time are we going to be here. So,
Yeah.
so there is
Well,
being practical, and then there is being acting as if. So
that's right. But in your case, because of what you've just said, then doing a vision board would be less expensive and also something you can take with you, even if you go to another country, you see. It's more practical.
Right.
Yeah. And I would put, Sana, I would also put that we now own this beautiful dream home, so that you own it, that you're not renting it, you see.
Yeah. My house. I want it to be in my name.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I also want to, I am sick and tired of living in a dry, sandy country like Saudi Arabia. Gulf is like, there is security, safety, so many good things about living here, but it's so hot and it's so sandy and it's so dry. So one of my dreams is to live in a beautiful place somewhere in Europe, maybe Georgia, the country, or even Turkey or Montenegro or some place like that.
Yeah.
So I have always wanted to have a tier A passport. We tried for different places, Canada here and there, but nothing happened. Another probably block of mine.
Yeah.
So this is also an issue. Like, I really want to. I thought this will be my year, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. I thought this will be my year when I will finally be able to move and go somewhere beautiful. Before all hell broke loose, Australia and New Zealand used to be my dream countries. They are so beautiful. But now
Yeah.
what and whatever is happening, the circus that is going on there, like,
Yeah.
I am like, no, thank you. I would
Yeah.
just visit that place, but this, it doesn't seem like anymore. Same. Yeah, I just want to live a free life. I want to have a land of my own and live somewhere beautiful, have a good passport as security. These are the things that I want.
Sounds
Things
good.
that are so easy for other people, and it's not, I'm sure there are things that are easy for me and not, which other people find hard, but all these
Yeah.
things, to have the nationality, the citizenship of a country that you want, or to be able to live in a beautiful place. I'm sure I often think about people who live in Denmark and Norway and Sweden, like how amazing it is to just, or Switzerland, who wake up and see beauty all around, like how lucky they are. But I'm sure they take it for granted. They don't know how lucky they are. They must have their own issues, high taxes and other
Yeah.
stuff, but it's, and even London, I'm sure it's beautiful. I've not been there, but
Yeah. It's sorry, I just had to plug in because my battery was dying. Yeah, I think
no problem.
it is I think different things appeal at different times. And it's like you're saying, okay, this place is really hot and really sandy. Like, to me, that sounds wonderful, because everything, it just depends on where you are, doesn't
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Actually, I don't like rain. So that is one about Riyadh. It's very dry. Even if
yeah,
you have put your clothes out to dry,
yeah,
they will dry in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So yeah, that's one good thing. But then again, you just cook from inside. It's so hot
yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like Australia's like that too, especially in the desert.
But how
Yeah.
is it? It's so beautiful. Saudi is not.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on what you think is beautiful. I mean, it's I think it just really depends. But I think when you move somewhere and you're there for a while, then you start to sprout other desires for other things, you know, like Abraham Hicks said, you manifest your desire and then the cracks appear. And it's like, you know, I remember wanting to live somewhere where I could have log fires and, you know, heat the house with a beautiful fireplace. So then I ended up in the mountains of Australia. That's all well and very romantic for a weekend. But when you got to chop wood and light a fire every single day, it's not fun. So I quickly lost the, after 8 years of that, I was sick of it. So, you know, you get to the point where your desires start and then the crack appears and then your desire hatches into something else. So you just go, okay, I've just realized this is what I don't want now. So what that reveals to me is that I want something else. And then you ask yourself, what is that something else? And then it's putting your focus on it there through a vision board, through an imaginal scene, through doing a meditation, through doing some daydreaming, through, like you were saying, oh, maybe Turkey or maybe somewhere like that. Oh, well, why don't I go and eat some Turkish food? Why don't I listen to some Turkish music? Why don't I? And you can start to absorb yourself from a distance in another culture, which is great. Listen to the language on YouTube, you know, whatever it is. But there's ways to connect with other countries.
But I think then the question is probably the thing that we should be striving for is how can we be happy and grateful and actually like really believe in our heart that we are living our dream life? Because whatever I have right now, this is without 100%. There was a time when I used to pray for these things. I prayed for financial stability. I prayed for husband and kids and, you know, all those things, and independence, somewhat, you know, independence, although I'm not like really earning, but I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
So there are so many things that, and I know it's a dream of so many other people that I'm living, but why is it not enough? Why can't we be like, we should be happy? Shouldn't we, like, if we are happy, because otherwise people who are living in Switzerland, they have their own woes, and who knows, if I go and start living there, I'll start having some other set of problems.
Yeah.
So how can I start being happy where I am right now? Because the ultimate goal is to be happy and contented, right?
Yeah, and
wherever you are.
We get caught in the next bright, shiny object. Oh, the next country. Oh, the next house. Oh, the next car. Oh, the next. And it's an unquenchable thirst. Happiness is not over there. So, yes, I think it's okay to want certain things, but not that you're totally dissatisfied and not content in the here and now. I think it's practicing mindfulness of, okay, I'm in Saudi Arabia right now. Let me look at 20 things I'm grateful for about this place right now, today. And you practice mindfulness of being here and now, the power of now, the power of the present moment. So it's, you know, it's a practice to be satisfied, to choose what you have while you still have thoughts about other things. Now, you know, I think finding meaning and finding joy in the here and now, that your desires, whether they hatch or not, you're not disturbed by that. That's true freedom and that's true happiness. And that takes practice, because it's easy to get dissatisfied. But it's saying, okay, I'm going to really enjoy today, and I'm really going to enjoy cooking. I'm going to enjoy my shower. I'm going to enjoy my sleep. I'm going to give thanks for the food that I have and the bed I have. And going through all those simple things that it's so easy to go, oh God, no, can I please pray? I want this, I want this, I want this. But doing prayers of gratitude rather than prayers of give me, I think is a more mature way of prayer rather than a childlike form of prayer, you know. So I think it's spiritual maturing.
sometimes I think in the back of my mind, I am scared that if I start being too happy or maybe the universe will not give me the things that I want. I don't know how to explain it, but so I don't want to be too happy here because I really want to be here for a long time now. But if you're not happy now, then you won't be happy, in the future as well, I think.
That's
So
right,
happiness is
because
not there, it's here.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a character trait.
Theoretically, it's, yeah, I am, maybe it's the character flaw. I'm unhappy am like the place, not like because of my situation, but I want to be at a bigger and better place, greener place, or all those things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's happiness is not the environment, it's the mental state of being. I mean, ideally, I love 30 to 40 degrees, and I love, either the desert or the beach, and I love nature. And I'm in London, and the weather's not what I prefer. The environment is not what I prefer. The temperature is not what I prefer. But am I happy here? Yeah, because I have a little sanctuary of where I live, and I keep looking around. See, London's very green. I love nature. It's where I live. There's nature everywhere, and there's animals in the parklands, and London's amazing for having left a lot of green spaces. Now, we haven't had much rain here. People think it rains in London all the time. Well, it hasn't. It's been between 25 and 38 degrees in the last 2 weeks. So people never think of London as being 38 degrees, but it has been. So, but I'm not going to base my happiness on the weather or on external things. I'm going to find the joy and the happiness within and practice my mindfulness. And, my relationship is here. My country is Australia. I'm born in France. I lived in Canada. So it's like I've been connected to 4 different places because, like you, I've moved around. And the happiness is not in the country, it's in the person.
Right. So, so the last thing that I want to ask is, it's a typical, I think, question of maybe unmotivated or lazy people, but I want to be financially independent. I don't want to have to work too much for it. Food and food spend, get health food cafe or restaurant for quite some time, but due to finances, like huge capital that is required, and also because I don't want to do it in Saudi anymore, restrictions and loans that happened, it scared me too much.
Yeah.
And plus, I think I listen to too many opinions of people who say that restaurant business is very, very hard, and there are so low margins, and it's like 80% of the restaurants get closed down after 1 year or 2 years, and all these things. And now the coming food shortages, like this is also one of the things that makes me wonder if it is a good idea. Will I be able to run it? All those, the realities of the world. It makes me wonder if I should do it. Would I be able to do it, or should I change my dream? I don't know. I want to be financially independent. I want to have to think about money. I need something, but I don't want to work too much for it. Like, work like everybody says that you have to work 18 hours a day, really hard to achieve something.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Having had a food business with my family, it was the most prison-like business I've ever had.
Oh.
And it was physically, it smashed me into the ground. So I'm probably not the best person to ask because my experience.
That's out there, I guess, because I love to travel. If somebody tells me that you have to be tied down to this and you can't take vacation or holidays, that's like,
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Unless you have, amazing employees that the business is doing so well that you can take off and trust people. I mean, we did it for nearly 3 years and it pretty much crushed our whole family. And we were working 7 days a week, and then we were working 6 days a week. And then we were working 5.5 days a week. And once we were burnt out, even 5.5 days a week was too much. So yeah, I think it's a relentless baby that never stops crying.
Okay. That's really reassuring.
Yeah. So if you don't want to work too hard, I would probably step over that one, because of all the jobs I've done in my lifetime, and I'm 55 now, that was the most mentally and emotionally and physically smashing of my health business of all.
Wow.
And I had no time off.
It's not as much, you think it's not as rewarding financially as either?
Well, I guess it depends. I think it depends where you set it up, what food you set up in what neighborhood, what's needed in that neighborhood, what's wanted in that neighborhood. I think you got to do a lot of market research. I mean, our business was working, but it's like, you're not just making food, you're ordering food, you're ordering for the next day, you're looking ahead, you've got to make sure you've got staff on to serve people, you've got to do rosters, you've got to do supplier lists, then you've got to run the business. So there's all this stuff in the background on top of. So I'm not saying it's not a good business for some people. I think people that have this boundless energy, that's a good business for them. But I was kind of a moderate person that didn't really want to be working 7 days a week. That just doesn't suit my body type at all. Physically, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mentally different. I'm stronger mentally, but physically it smashed me, and it took me probably 2 years to recover physically from that business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Time to think of new business ideas, I think. My whole problem is it's very hard to, especially in Saudi, I guess, because the food is not according to my taste. It's really hard to satisfy me when food is concerned. Like I pay close attention to the quality of food and, the value for money that you are getting, or lack of the value for food.
Yes.
So that's it. It feels like nobody is preparing the kind of food that I want. Maybe I have to take the plunge, but then again, if it is going to be so hard, probably maybe I should wait and let someone else take the plunge, I guess.
Yeah, it's a big question. What do I want to do? What am I good at? And what am I capable of doing physically, mentally, emotionally? Because we've all got strengths and weaknesses. So it's looking at, I mean, I remember when I was doing that job, I remember thinking, all I want to do is sit down. I just want to sit down. I can't be on my feet all day anymore. So that was my driving force to go from doing something really physical to doing something where I was not physically doing, where my body wasn't being physically taxed. So, but it's asking yourself, where are my skills? What is this something I can learn? Can I do a course? I mean, I ended up injuring myself, and then I had to take a break for a year because my back was injured. So, I waited too long and I couldn't find anything quick enough, and it cost me a whole year of my life. So, but in that time I did my YouTubing and I did a coaching course, and then I ended up sitting down, which was what I wanted. So, sometimes it's something really simple. And for me, it was, I want to sit down and I don't want to hear the alarm clock. They were very basic things for me. So that's part of my life now. I don't hear the alarm clock, and I, because I'm a night person, I like to start work at 10 or 11 in the morning. And that was something that was important to me and my body clock. So I think sometimes if you can write, okay, these are all the things I don't want. Like for me, the don't wants were what created my list. I don't want to hear an alarm clock, and I don't want to get up early, and I don't want to listen to people talking on the way to work, like on the bus, on the train. I felt like a little chick that had just hatched, and I wasn't ready for the world yet. I used to feel like that every morning. It was like the world was an assault. So I knew writing all that
the
down.
trauma of waking up was enough for you.
Yeah, yes. So I, from that list, wrote down, I want to work late, as in late in the morning. I'm happy to work till 11 o'clock at night because I'm a night person, but I cannot be functioning at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. I can't. I'm not ready for the world. So I had to write down, okay, I want to start. I hate working early, and I was always in jobs where I had to work early. So I thought, okay, if my don't want is I don't want to work early. I want to start at 10 or 11. So I wrote that down. Then I was always working in noisy places like shopping centers where there was loud music and it was like heaps of people. And I thought, oh my God, I just want to work somewhere peaceful and quiet where I don't have to listen to music and be assaulted by screaming children or, all this stuff. So I knew then it was pretty clear I wanted to work from home in my own quiet environment. So
you didn't know at that time what exactly you wanted to work?
No, I had no idea. But my list of don't wants got me started into the opposite was what I wanted. I wanted quiet. I wanted somewhere where I could regulate the temperature, because I'd always be going into places that were freezing cold with air conditioning and big shopping centers, or you'd be in an environment where the heat was cranked up so hot that you felt sick, So it was like I wanted to be able to regulate the temperature and the noise and the time. So I wrote down all these things. Yeah, that was the freedom. So now I do that. The place is the right temperature. I work by myself. I'm working with people online, but my environment is in my control. And that was really important to me because I'm really light sensitive and I'm noise sensitive. I can't work some people can work in the middle of a mess and middle of noise and they can switch off. I get over stimulated and it freaks me.
Okay.
So you got to work out who am I and what do I like. And there was a thing called, I've mentioned it in a YouTube before. It was these little tests you could do, career tests, and they ask you all these questions and quizzes. And then they tell you at the end from your answer what industries you would be good for. So that was really helpful to me.
Okay. I should probably
if you want,
that.
Sana, I'll send you those little quizzes. I'll find the YouTube, and then in the description, there's links to those quizzes. So I'll send those to you tomorrow.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
good question.
This includes all my questions. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, and you're so generous, and I just love your vibe. I love your energy. Honestly, I'm not just saying that. The thing that I find so unique about you is I have never seen you saying, please subscribe to my channel, please give a thumbs up, or like this is something that I don't remember anyone else doing that except you. So this is something that I've never ever seen you doing, and you're still doing pretty well, I think. So I guess you don't have to follow the crowd.
Well, no, and the thing is, if you are doing law of attraction and you're asking that, you're breaking the basic rules of LOA, because it's law of attraction. You shouldn't be prompting people to subscribe or to watch this or get a notification or that's basic law of attraction. See, whenever I watch someone that says those things, I go, well, you don't understand the basics, so I'm not watching you. You are
Right.
asking me for something to give you something when you've given me nothing yet. So
Yeah.
I made a decision a long time ago. My aim on YouTube is to be of service and to give. And the subscriber count, the view count, it doesn't matter. It's just a number. I don't care. It's really not important, because it's not about me getting reassurance or attention from those types of things.
But that
So,
also is tied with money, isn't it?
yeah.
It's also, so more views means, lunch money, whatever. So how does it not affect you? Like, it's,
Well,
and when
I mean, I've
everyone
got,
else is doing.
yeah, well, they're doing that, and I don't know. I mean, that's I won't comment on what they're doing. That's their thing. I don't watch a lot of LOA stuff at all. The only thing I really listen to these days is, recordings of Louise Hay in her own voice, or Joseph Murphy or Neville. I listen to the originals because they were not trying to get, they were givers. And
Right.
to me, I'm really particular about what I watch. As soon as I see someone trying to get something from me, I switch it off. I don't want you to try and, you're on YouTube and I'm looking up the title of something. Now, I will say this, if I'm watching a recipe channel, or if I'm watching how to hook up my TV to my iPad or something, I don't care if they say subscribe to my channel and give me the thumbs up, because they're not in this industry. So for them,
Right.
I don't care. But in this industry, if you're in the well-being industry or the law of attraction industry and you're saying subscribe to my channel, give me the thumbs up, you haven't understood the basics about it. So I can't take you seriously in what you're saying, because what you're doing is going against LOA. So
Right.
I'm really savvy. I mean, I've got way more particular over the years as to who I watch. But I find when I'm on YouTube, I'm watching Joe Rogan, or I'm watching, some fabulous interview like we just talked about before, of something that's got nothing to do with law of attraction, because I just try and stay in my lane. But in terms of what you're saying about money, it's God is the source of my supply, not YouTube. So what I do is I go to bed at night and I say to source, or God, or infinite intelligence, what is it that you would have me know today? And who can I be of service to? And I'm just ready to be of service. And I always have enough work. And I always have money coming in. I don't worry about money. I'm not going to be up or down in my emotions because of what my bank account is doing. My bank account goes up sometimes it goes down. I'm not going to give away my peace of mind to money.
That's amazing. And one last small question, when you said about God and source, being a Muslim, I am a Muslim by faith. So
yeah,
when Neville says, and when, people who follow law of attraction, sometimes when they say you are God and you are the creator, that, like, on one level, yes, I understand, but then I
yeah,
know I'm not God, because I believe in a God and I worship that God. And,
yes,
so how do you, how do you, compromise between those two beliefs, that I am
yeah,
also the co-creator, but in my faith, I strongly believe that I have a God, and, he
yeah,
grants me wishes, and he sometimes, grants me wishes and sometimes not. And sometimes,
yeah,
some calamity befalls and all those things. And it is separate from me. It's not.
yeah,
So how do you merge those two beliefs?
yeah. Nice
Are we the
question.
co-creators, or are we God, or what do you do? Because I
Okay.
know I'm not God. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know what you're saying. I've had this too. I mean, I grew up with no religion and no spiritual beliefs until probably my teens, where my mom got into Eastern religion. So I had nothing being taught to me that I had to believe this or that. So what I see today is that we are able to focus on certain things. and we are able to influence certain things through our focus. However, I do think that what I would call the bigger infinite intelligence, because that's got way more broad view and knowledge than we will ever have, because it created nature and the systems that the planets, et cetera, et cetera. We don't know about that. So that system of intelligence is the one that delivers to us the packaging and timing of our desires. How it gets here, when it gets here, we don't know. But what we can do is sweep our side of the street by being grateful, by giving thanks, by letting go and surrendering, by having faith and trust. That's our job. So I think we are a little piece of God broken off into lots of little pieces, and that we are spiritually maturing in the understanding of how that system works. And I think those people that understand surrender and humility, because I don't see that you can really understand that without humility. If you think you're God and that you are so powerful that you have the power to do everything and you turn into someone who's entitled, I think you're in trouble, because there'll come a point where, you know, I remember Dan, you know, Dan that you were talking about said to me one day when we were discussing something in a interview, he said, there comes a point when I start thinking too highly of myself that something will happen to humble me once again. And I think that's so true in my own life. And we were laughing because we were both remembering times where we thought, oh yeah, I know how to do this, and I know how to manifest this, and I'm really good at this, and I'm the creator. And then something happens where you just, you know, you get wiped out. So I think it's remembering that you come from God and that God is within you. But the mothership,
are we the creators or not? Are we the creators or not?
We are the creators, but we're not the deliverers of how and when. That we can't, we don't have that ability. We're not the warehouse. We're not the final one that gives it to. We are granted things by infinite intelligence, Allah, source, God, whatever word you prefer, I think. And that's the humility in our relationship with it. I think it's within, but then there's a surrender process where we have to say, I don't know when this is coming or how this is getting here. And I have to admit that I don't know that.
Right.
Good question.
Thank you so much, Agnes. It was really enlightening. I hope I come back after some time and I tell you what are the things that I have achieved. Maybe I'll be calling you from some other country. And, you know,
or Sana, if you haven't achieved anything or everything, that you don't care and you feel happy and you're free anyway. That is the cherry on the cake. That's it.
Maybe, but that frightens me. Even thinking about frightens me that I will not be able to achieve the things that I desire. So let's hope it's the other thing. But thank you so much, Agnes. It was
my pleasure.
Really nice talking to you.
Lovely, good conversation, and I appreciate you giving your time too, because it's when we discuss things and break things down that I think more things come to the surface. You know, it's like I can do YouTube on my own, but it's often in discussion that we take, you know, little paths that I don't expect, and that's what's good. Because I say to all of you that I do this with, don't give me the questions in advance, because I don't want to plan the answers and I don't want to miss out on the spontaneousness of it all. It's more fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you a real, like, genuine person who's hard to find these days, really. Because people are so fake at, on YouTube, social media, and it was a really nice, it was not a surprise, actually. I think one can see that whatever you see, you get with you. So that's really nice. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Do you want to say goodbye to everyone? And then I will, and then we'll say bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to us. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And I'll put the links down below to anything we talked about. See you in the next one.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Stop.